A good writer believes their reader is smart and can figure a few things out for themselves. In fact, a reader enjoys reading because they actually like figuring things out. That's one of the things that makes reading fun for them. Only an amateur writer misses the point of reading and hands everything to the reader directly. Well, readers don't want to be told what to think. That's why another common writing maxim is show, don't tell. Most of this figuring out happens in fractions of seconds in the subconscious mind of the reader. And I'm not talking about big revelations, such as in a mystery novel. These are more like small, descriptive discoveries. Let me give you a few examples. Tell, I was nervous as I gave my speech. Show, stammering with every sentence, I clung to the podium, hoping no one would notice my shaking fingers. In this example, there is a big difference between telling that someone is nervous and showing the things that happen when someone is nervous. The reader feels connected to the story and to the character when they can figure out something by themselves and subconsciously think to themselves, I bet he's nervous. The same thing has happened to me too. Here's another example of showing versus telling. Tell. Stop it right now, my mother whispered across the pew. Joe and I could see that we embarrassed her when we quietly goofed off during church. Show. Stop it right now, my mother whispered across the pew. Joe pinched my arm once more, and I kicked his ankle. We both looked over at her. Her face was a shade of red I'd only seen on a Corvette. In this example, I'm showing both the emotion that the mother is feeling, embarrassment, and what the boys had been doing, goofing off. It's better than just telling that they were goofing off and telling that she's embarrassed. And here's one more example of showing versus telling. Tell. Dorothy felt empathy for her husband. Sam had worked another long day. Show. Dorothy walked into the living room and saw Sam had fallen asleep during the 6 o'clock news. Softly, she kissed his forehead and took the remote from his calloused hand to turn off the TV. Now, what showed Dorothy's empathy? Her soft kiss and her effort to let him sleep a little longer. And what showed that Sam had worked a long day? His calloused hands and the fact that he had fallen asleep during the 6 o'clock news. Now, you might say, I can see how that works with fiction, but what about nonfiction? Well, as you give stories and examples from your own life, in your book, remember that you did not actually have a narrator there explaining things as the moment unfolded in real time. No, you did the subconscious work of figuring things out by yourself as you were experiencing it. No one came and stole the simple pleasure of discovery from you by telling you what to think. You noticed your teacher was angry when you saw his furrowed brow. You noticed the child was happy when you saw her skipping down the sidewalk. You noticed the woman was ready to leave when she started fumbling for her keys before the conversation was over. You noticed the older gentleman had been crying when you saw his red-rimmed eyes. You noticed. As a writer, it's your responsibility to show your reader every detail. Be specific. Then let them notice. Instead of writing about fruit on the table, write about navel oranges in a silver bowl. Instead of writing about the smell of your grandmother's house, write about the comforting fragrance of soap and talcum powder. Instead of writing about the beginning of a lovely sunset, write about pink like layers of cotton candy appearing in the sky. Make your book about the experience that you can offer to your reader. Don't just tell them about it, show them.